I saw a really great example of sort of reading concrete, right? So there's a job that we're bidding. Well, we're not bidding it because it's concrete replacement. We don't do that, right? We do concrete leveling, stabilization, soil stabilization, liquefaction mitigation, all that fun jazz. So just replacing concrete is not generally something that your tech itself does. So you got a lot of different areas throughout this city where you have some broken, cracked up concrete. Tree roots primarily are raising the concrete up, which is creating a lot of the problems that you're seeing throughout the city. But while we were going through, I was chatting with individual from the city, and I'm going to turn this around so you guys kind of see what we're looking at. So you see this little line of concrete cracking right here? This is just, it's just a line and whatever, right? So it's not within the scope of what they're talking about doing. But when I trace this back, you'll notice the line is fairly consistent through and through. So what I'm doing here is I'm reading the concrete. Remember, I had an entire thing about how every crack tells a story, right? By the way, sorry, I'm like super tired. I just drove all night long to get here. So I said every crack tells a story. So you can kind of tell if there's differential settlement cracks, you can tell if there's heaving, you can tell if there's different things going on inside a structure based off the crack, right? You can also read concrete based in part off of reading cracks and based in part off of condition of concrete and things like that. So that's what this is kind of about. You see here the crack kind of pops up and then goes back into this same line, right? So you can see here, new concrete, right? And even though you have new concrete, you've got a crack here. You can see the heave. You can tell that the trees here are starting to heave up the concrete, and that's primarily the issue that they're having throughout the city, right? So a lot of what they're doing is matched to existing because things are not ADA compliant, and they're doing a lot of R&R and a lot of grinding with the full knowledge that the problem will probably persist, right? The problem's probably going to come back as the trees continue to grow and they continue to push up the concrete and they continue to crack and create failures. But right here, you can see this sort of thickened opening here, and then this tilts down, right? Now, at first glance, that might be the trees, especially because this is sitting over brand new concrete. You imagine that they poured the new concrete over and then the tree root continued to grow and it pushed the concrete up, right? But right here is my line of where the new concrete started. You can see the heave, you can see that. You can see a patch here, but this is where it gets interesting. You've got the crack and the tilt, right? Now I'm gonna keep backing up. Notice this joint right here. It's open, right? Right here, it's open and they filled this joint. I don't know if that's with a cementitious grout or an expansion material. And then here, we have more cracking. And as I back up just enough, fully in line with where you see signs of distress and failure, what do you see? Everything here tilts down, right? So everything that, that's not a heavy load, right? There's not a whole lot of load pushing down on this to create that type of a tilting failure. It goes into the old concrete and into the new concrete, and the new concrete has a failure along the exact same plane as the old concrete. So I know that there is something happening that is disaffecting the soil underneath this section on top of the tree roots affecting and creating the heave issues that you're seeing underneath that concrete. Anyway, this was a pre-bid meeting for a bunch of sidewalk replacements. The city engineer and I had a really good discussion about what I was seeing here. There's another couple areas that have issues like that. And yeah, long story short, we're having a different discussion now. Stuff that is applicable to infrastructure sealing and soil stabilization and concrete leveling. So kudos to being able to read concrete and identify problems based off of signs and symptoms that you see surrounding, not just what's right in front of your eyes. You have to evaluate situations. You have to evaluate problems. You can't take anything at face value. Always be looking for more.